I'd like to announce the conclusion of Our Freedom in Peril, currently invisible on Facebook because Mark Zuckerberg has removed my account. I've been impersonated, and that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The last chapter is entitled, Let Me. It sounds nice, courteous. Let me. It's more Eddie Haskell to play nice, but be mean. 43 years I've existed, being raised and then survived and flourished on my own. Then a wall was shoved in my face, and let me forecast events to experience. Sometimes people say, you first, just so they can trip you. I believe leaving a place better than I found it. And some are so greedy, they want to leave it the way they want it. The world is not a SimCity game where we purposefully let neighborhoods decay in favor of ritzy, penis-soaring condominiums in an exclusive part of town. But the reality is we do treat it that way. Man manipulates the world and makes what he chooses. Is this the purpose of our existence and life on the planet? No other creature on the globe does this, and it polarizes people and makes them more isolated and apart from, rather than a part of, the environment and community. When we want something, we are projecting. We start at the finish line and then trace out a course. Goals are different than wants because you don't know the path that you need to take to succeed, that you don't know the path that you're going to take to succeed. What happens when you want something that's illegal to get? You have to consider how much you want the thing. Why was my piece of land so sought after? And why was there such a huge commotion over it? Their game was psychological torture, and that was before the physical. But I managed to somehow stay composed enough to not let people destroy my freedom. But they destroyed everything else in my life instead. What happened? And why couldn't I get it to stop? Who created my reality and decided they were going to win? Who decided that consuming my thinking with negativity and doom and gloom would win out over my faith and entire existence of life in truth? Well, they haven't. And that is the bellows that fan the flames more. And it makes not one bit of sense to me at all. The neighbors who set a stage for me to tumble off of by defending myself and my own dignity was the catalyst to punch. And when I punched back, cried how hurt they were. The projection was set, and the lies believed, and it made an army of enemies I'd never had or done one thing to. A crusade with a cause, because someone wanted something, and it was important enough for them to risk a lot. when everything was what they already took. Becoming a slave with not an ounce of privacy and unable to restore it, and knowing the connection is to a want that takes even more, is proof that I am to them completely worthless and disposable, and certainly not an equal. Light trickery to get me to photograph what they moved like a lure on a pole, to bite and get hooked on ideas and things they created and forced into my head by reinforcing words as I studied photographs and found anomalies that couldn't be explained in nature. Coined Nature Boy at the projection setting was in fact very true. I know nature and science very well. I used the laws of the universe to back up what I said because it was all true. And every attempt to get verification or the learning of something different never happened. And a belief on a fixation created even more obstacles at getting to the bottom of what was happening just outside my windows and all over my property. I've been imprisoned by a 3D movie set of a life, and my fear turned to anger, to consciousness, and finally, knowledge. The knowledge came in bits and crumbs, and all of the pictures from 2014 to 2017 have disappeared out of my iCloud, and devices stolen while I slept. My wallet disappeared the same way. A spackling bucket became a toilet for a told 3 in my head that I found some months after the presents were left. Toothpaste spit in my sink when I brush in the shower. Mail stolen out of my mailbox. Plants killed, and more disgusting thoughts told to you from a secluded location. And knowing I wouldn't be believed or that they would ever be caught made the ordeal something that could only be described as a torture chamber that nobody knows you're in. They planned everything from the beginning. Nothing was an accident, and people thought what they were told, and nobody wants to say who said it. Instead of fearing me, they really need to be concerned about fearing a liar who made them believe. Whatever he says next will be what happens. And it is a hypnotic trance that is a real problem. Because his arrogance and disregard for anything he does, for disregard for anything he doesn't favor, is something that is anything but admirable. He has entrapped people, and fear allows him to think and create any desire that comes into his greedy brain. A want is something to be cautious of, because an obsession and compulsion to get it becomes so powerful, more powerful than anything. But success is never considered as an addiction takes over, more powerful than God. People do some very nasty things. And if a secret allows the ability to never be caught, that secret is the devil's seed that makes the burning bush brighter than the star we call our sun. And it blinds everything and everyone who sees what he created and hears the words he tells. One sun is what our solar system needs, and more is not always better. A statement of "let me" sounds thoughtful. However, it is a command for control. It is a statement of assumed incompetence. It is how a Burger King thinking person becomes a truth and not a thing anymore. Let me do that again, sorry. It is how the Burger King thinking becomes a truth and not a thing anymore. And not a thing anyone else says or thinks or believes means anything. Ignorance is bliss. But it's just rude as fuck. Ignoring a truth like spilled milk makes a kitchen stink, and you can easily identify anal retentive stubbornness and the way it's become so. Admitting an error is not weakness because you can move on. But thinking right leaves you left with wrong ideas and a solution to a problem never found. "Let me," everyone said, and no thanks and no thank you was ignored and thought impossible to tolerate because they had an idea about what I should become. Nobody has that right, and fight I will, because God said on this issue I am completely and 100% correct. Other people need to focus on themselves, because a focus on another person with tools to turn them into a remote-controlled human is not what God had in mind.